I'm Jim Selman. I thought about it a number of years ago that it doesn't make a lot of sense to try to make sense out of something that's nonsensical. For the last 6 months or so, like most people in the United States, I've been witnessing or a part of this unfolding political drama in the United States having to do with the emergence of Donald Trump as the possible leading Republican contender for the presidency. And I certainly don't need to repeat the range of emotions that people go through, from amusement to shock to anger to despair, in terms of what this story is saying about us as a society and us as a people. I've intentionally not done any blogging or commenting on this because, frankly, I don't know exactly what's going on any more than anyone else. But I do have a point of view. And the point of view is that there was a book in 1978 called Four Arguments for the Elimination of Television. And it was by a man named Jerry Mander, believe it or not. And the book was really well done in terms of trying to understand the implications of that particular technology on how we as human beings relate to our world. One of the arguments, he said, is that when you think about television as a technology, it actually creates the experience in the brain that people have had an experience of something that's not experienced at all. For example, when you're watching the Vietnam War on television, you actually think you're getting something about war. You're visually watching something happening and can begin to create the illusion or the sense that perhaps you almost know what it's like. Now, I think if we press that idea, we can see that reality television, for example, is the ultimate extension of that. That we begin to project our lives and our relationship to life into the technology or into the medium in a way that we become spectators of something, thinking that we're actually connected to what we're spectating. I've written some blogs about the idea that too often I think we are becoming a spectator society. We're spending more and more of our lives talking about the world, talking about what's happening, without having any real connection to what's happening. For example, how many times we sit around the dinner table and talk about something, whether it's climate change or whether it's the sex trade or whether it's the economy or whether it's the homeless situation or poverty or any one of 150 different other issues. And we speak about these things, and at the end of the conversation, everybody wrings their hands and kind of says, "Isn't that awful?" But nothing changes, nothing happens. And we spend more and more of our time in this. If we look at the world of blogging, we have 100 million blogs in which people are expressing opinions. And they're expressing opinions from the perspective of an observer watching the world or having a comment about the world. If we look at the news media and the hundreds of pundits that are commenting on everything, it begins to give you a sense that there's something being lost in terms of people's connection with and participation with life, with what's actually happening. And I'm not saying that we should ever not have observations or comments, but typically we would have comments about the game we're playing, as distinct from being trapped in a perspective where our unending commentary is about something that we have no connection with. And I think that perhaps the Donald Trump phenomenon is an extension of that. I think that he represents the next phase in what happens when a population is seduced by celebrity. And so we now have this enchanting addiction to celebrity, to reality TV. We've turned our educational system often into infotainment, where we're doing workshops in corporations which are then judged based upon how much people enjoy them, as distinct from how much they learn. I think more and more we're being either consciously or unconsciously seduced into a relationship with the circumstances in our own lives where we're one step or sometimes more than one step removed from the experience or the occurring or the what's actually happening. And the result is we end up with this aberration of nonsensical, unexplainable, unimaginable kinds of outcomes that at some point or another begin to undermine the very structures that have our society be what it is.